So for those who don't know me, I'm LJ Edmonds, and I'm a very proud member of the Ohio community, particularly our global community, which is all of us. I'm your Vice Provost for Global Affairs, I'm the Director of the Center for International Studies, and I'm a professor in the College of Health Sciences and Professions. And you know, tonight is our 7th Gala. I can hardly believe, and it's really easy for me to remember because it was the first year that I came here was when we first launched the Gala. But I have to say, you know, every event has been so special. And every year, I don't know what it is, but it just seems to get better and better. And when I walked in this evening, I have to say I was really touched by just the warmth in the room. Can't you feel it? Like there's just a lovely feeling, the red, the gold, the glitter, and all the people in the room. It's just really special to be here. So I'm going to do what I usually do at the end. I'm going to do first so that I don't forget the special people who made this event happen, because honestly, if we didn't have our team in the Office of Global Affairs and International Studies tonight, of course this event wouldn't happen. And I really want to give special mention to Jiyoung, Bree, Kate, Marion, and anybody else who I might have forgotten, because I know that it is such a collective effort of our community. So look at this evening, it is really because of them. The other people I have a few and then we can do an applause, because I also want to make special mention to the musicians. That was the College of Fine Arts, the School of Music, the Jazz Ensemble, and I think they again just added just a lovely dimension to our evening. The cultural dimension, I don't know, there's just, again, you add music and you add jazz and, you know, we all have a bit of a skip in our step. It's lovely. I also want to mention Kevin Price, who I think has been at almost every event. And, you know, he's now recording this for future reference, and it's part of our social history. And our social history here at Ohio University in terms of our global impact is really important. So we really appreciate what he's doing. Also, behind the scenes, and of course what we're eating, is what housekeeping and catering services does to make these events just that extra special. And I think tonight the food, again, is exemplary, and we're deeply grateful for the extra touch that everybody's made. So if I could just do a round of applause for all of our colleagues. Thank you. And so International Education Week is a national event, and it has become a part, I think, of Ohio social history now. And so we have a number of events that go on the Athens campus and on the regional campuses throughout the week. So let me just mention a couple. We now start the event with our International Student Union dinner. And again, that was a hugely successful event that started the inaugural week. So thank you again, ISU, for a spectacular and memorable evening on international students and all that they do on our campus. It was really special. We also have the Global Opportunities photo competition that is being showcased in the front room. For those who haven't been there, again, those are also special memories that are brought to the forefront. We had the Fulbright Scholars Panel. We had Risa Whitson was the inaugural award winner of the Center for International Study Research and Creativity Award, and she spoke yesterday and talked about her really impactful research. It's a community participation art approach to addressing really difficult questions with internally displaced people in Colombia. And she just did a fabulous job of conveying the special stories and the role that she plays as a scholar in partnership with communities in Colombia to tell that story back home here at Ohio University. So I also want to take a moment and just mention some of our guests. I mean, you are all special, and you know that, and you're very special to us. But I wouldn't mind just giving a little bit of highlight. And again, I'm not going to get everybody, but I'm going to try and do my best to just capture some of the people in the room who you might like to know who's here, if I may. So we have our previous award winners of our gala, and I think now we have 18 at a minimum. And I can see we've got pockets of them here, so it's nice to welcome you back. We also have our evening's awardees, which you can see in our little whatever that thing is, brochure, whatever thing is called. I'm a little nervous, you know. I don't know why. I mean, I do this every year. What's the deal? Anyways, let me keep going. We have a special mention to both Raj and Manju Koshal. We're going to celebrate Raj Koshal in a special endowment later on this evening, and tomorrow night we have the keynote address, which is actually the Koshal Endowment that is sponsoring that event, and so I will speak a little bit about that later. But again, we are really delighted, and I hope Raj and Manju, for those who don't know them, they are, well, they're part of our social history. They've just had such a huge impact at Ohio University, and so it's really nice to celebrate them. And I hope you can see a bit of an Indian touch to this evening's event, and we wanted to capture them here tonight as we will tomorrow as well. Let me just see who else I want to mention here. There's a few. We have, oh yes, and Javier Cabajal, I want to mention from Ecuador. So Javier, I think Shaden met him earlier. Javier is a professor in biochemistry. Now, he does many special things, but for those who don't know, who likes beer? Anybody like beer? Well, we now have is it the 1566 Jackie O's beer? That's Javier's, and it is now, you can buy it. I thought tonight we should have actually had it now in retrospect, but anyway, so we're delighted that you're here. So he's a visiting professor for the year, so that is just fantastic. We also have a community of 9 delegates from the University of Tabuk. And they've been here all day, and we've had a wonderful event. And let me just take note, because their story is rich in terms of why they're here. So our rector, Abdullah, I'm going to try and say his name properly, Abdullah Mofari Hiroki. Did I do that close enough? Thank you. The reason why he's here is because he visited Ohio in 2004. And tonight he spoke about the power of word of mouth and excellence at Ohio University campus, and that it was through his colleagues and the reputation that Ohio has in Saudi Arabia that when he became rector, see, you never know where people are going to end up, like honestly. When he became rector, he decided that of the few universities that he was going to visit the United States, he would come here. So we are really delighted. We've had a fantastic day, and I have to thank the Patton College of Education because they were the foot in the door that allowed us to give them a chance to see the breadth and depth of excellence here at Ohio University. So welcome once again, and enjoy your evening, sirs, and delegation. So. Yeah. The power of excellence at home and word of mouth, seriously. We're also delighted to have with us Chris Knisley, who's the president of City Council. I know that everybody knows that Athens and Ohio University are like this. And it's because of the leadership of our Athens Council and our mayor, and also the leadership at Ohio University. So we're really delighted that you're joining us this evening. And we do have an awardee. We know the public transit community is being recognized tonight, so that's another special way to showcase how much we value Athens' role in making this a truly global community. So thank you. So let me just mention a couple of our members of our university community, because we have a few of those too. So our International Student Union is here. Our Student Senate and our Graduate Student Senate are here. We have, of course, our team from Global Affairs and International Studies are here. We have Purba Das. Where's Purba? There she is. So Purba has an important role at Ohio University for those who don't know. She is the chair-elect of University International Council, which is our policy advisory group to the president. So pleased that she's here, because UIC is a very active member of our global community here now. So thank you, Purba, for your leadership. We have members of University International Council here, of course, and then we have a number of deans. I won't mention them because I see quite a few of you, but again, thrilled to have you here. We also have a couple of new deans that I wouldn't mind mentioning, because I see Florence Plasman, who's the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, and I see, excuse me, I'm I'm cadetting, can you believe it? Donald Skinner. I'm looking at him. Donald Skinner, who's our new Dean for the Honors Tutorial College, is also here this evening, so thank you for joining us. And Candace Boninger is here, our interim Vice Provost for Enrollment Management. Joe Shields is here, our Vice President for Research and Creative Activity and the Dean of the Grad College. And Shadan Jalali, I think everybody knows who Shadan, who's going to be speaking shortly. And last but not least is our global leader, Ohio's global leader and visionary, and his partner, Dwayne Nellis and Ruthie Nellis. And a round of applause for our special guests, all of you that are here tonight. So let me just take a moment. Before I invite Shadan Jalali to speak, I just want to kind of put our global story into the recent announcement and unveiling of the President and Ohio's Fearlessly First strategic framework. You know, I think we are embarking on a really bold vision of wanting to reimagine our academic enterprise in ways that we must do in order for us to thrive and survive and continue to excel. And since President Nellis has been here, he has underscored the imperative to leverage our past and our excellence as we build our future. And what's been really important from our perspective, meaning all of us who are very keen to see where does the international story fit, we have seen from the day that he's arrived that his global vision, well, actually, I should say his and Ruthie's, they've both traveled and worked extensively all over the world. Now, he hasn't traveled, or they haven't traveled to as many countries as I have, but we're counting. He said 30 tonight. I'm at 66, so he's got a ways to go. But still, you know, he comes by it honestly, and it shows. And he has talked from the get-go the importance of having a global ecosystem. And by a global ecosystem, we mean Appalachia, we mean Athens, we mean the state of Ohio, we mean the United States, and we mean the rest of the world. We are part of one planet in this universe. And being a GIS specialist, he even further understands the importance of how small a celestial body we are, but how important it is that we get along and that we create these relationships. And I think what you see is a person who is a relationship leader. He believes that in order to build our infrastructure here on our campus, our relationships in our communities, and to be able to advance our cause of graduating global leaders, we must have these incredible interconnected relationships of friends, real friends who can help make this world a better place. And so as I look at the strategic framework, you see 11 major initiatives, but he underscores in all of this, the importance of globalization. And I think it was very interesting. In the Chronicle of Higher Education, we've been recently reading about, has the golden age of higher education in terms of internationalization passed? Well, I don't believe it has. It can't. But I also want to emphasize it most certainly hasn't ended here. If anything, it's thriving. And it's going to continue to thrive because I can even speak to 5 major initiatives that we've started to roll out in the last year. You know, we have the Global Connections program that is about building global capacity on our campus with staff and faculty who've never traveled away to be able to have that transformative experience so they can bring it back and integrate it into their roles here on campus. We've recently rolled out the Collaborative Online International Learning Initiative, which is a true inclusive partnership of 14 institutions around the world, 50 faculty across all of the disciplines in which our deans are supporting, our partners internationally are supporting, and our office are supporting, to give the chance to add value for our students to make connections through the use of virtual technology. You know, not everybody can study away physically. So this is just another way to create those magical relationships that we need in order to reinforce the importance of globalization. The other initiative is our President's Global Engagement Fund, which is a partnership with the with Joe Shields' office, the Vice President for Research and Creative Activity, the Office of Global Affairs, and the President, who again realizes that for us, it's not just about building our capacity here, but we have to advance our vision around the world. And so we now have this significant fund of $200,000 where we'll fund up to 20 or 10 projects a year for you all to have an opportunity and your partners to create something novel and new for Ohio University to lead into the future. International recruitment under now Candace's leadership and her team has been, again, a major investment because a lot of what you hear is our international enrollment is decreasing. What I would suggest, in fact, it's diversifying. Yeah, we are seeing some structural adjustment. But what Candace and her team are doing is we're diversifying the community of our international students. And there's always sort of a silver lining in the story. And we were intrigued to find out this year through the leadership of faculty and our alumni and our own recruitment community, we've actually doubled the number of students from the continent of Africa in the last 5 years. And that's important because for those who don't know, Africa features in a significant way throughout our campus. We have about 40 faculty members who are either from the continent, studying about the continent, or doing research with partners on the continent of Africa. So we are delighted to see that in this silver lining, as we diversify, one of the fastest growing economies in the continent of Africa are here on our campus. So these are all significant dimensions that are really underscoring. There's one more. On your desk, you will see world languages. And the thing about Ohio University is, again, world languages, if you want to have relationships, speaking another language is really helpful. And all of these, including languages, at the end of the day, it's about jobs. And we know that those who want to get the best jobs in the world tend to speak another language, have tended to have a study away, have tended to learn about the area studies and where they would like to engage. It's about jobs. It's also about humanities sustainability because it's about having friends to make a difference around the world. So I am really grateful to our leadership. I really am, and I want to thank President Nellis, and I want to thank Shadin Jalali, and this is a really nice segue to invite Shadin to come up and speak because like I mentioned, I should mention that our deans, I should talk about, last but not least, if we talk about international recruitment, we're not just talking about students. We have also invested significantly in recruiting international colleagues, faculty members, and new deans to our campus. This year we have 4 new deans. One is from the United States, one is from Germany, one is from South Africa, and Mei Wei, who's not here this evening, the Dean of the Rusk College of Engineering, she's originally from China. So again, I think it shows this true, impactful global vision of ensuring that all that we have done in the past is here and now and will sustain as we move forward. And that only happens because of the remarkable leadership that we have in President Nellis and Shadin Jalali and all those who are here to serve you. So if I could invite Shadin up, that would be very nice. Thank you.
Thank you, LJ, for the introduction, and good evening, everyone. So if people want to get faster to dessert, I can just say everything she said, and I can go back to my table. So. Yes. It's an honor to be here with you tonight for the 7th Annual Global Engagement Awards Gala. Tonight, we will honor faculty, staff, and alumni, as well as a community organization for their excellence in global engagement. A well-rounded global education is crucial to creating the next group of leaders and educators in our world. That is why we make global education one of our priorities at Ohio University. We are very proud to have so many international students who choose to study at Ohio University, as well as faculty and staff from around the world. Currently, we have 109 countries represented on our campus. And we have students and faculty engaged in exchanges and partnership in 46 countries. While our main campus is located here in Athens, we all realize that the problems our students will face in their careers are not isolated to the cities or countries they come from, but instead are global problems. That is why global education is perhaps now more than ever so important. Some of the greatest challenges we face are bigger than any one country can solve in isolation. Environmental issues, infectious diseases, economic interdependencies, social and political unrest, to name just a few. Addressing these challenges effectively requires sustained, coordinated effort and problem solving on a massive scale. But the benefits are enormous, both now and for our collective future. Here at Ohio University, we're equipping our students, staff, and faculty to be global leaders of positive change, not only around the world, but right here in Ohio. We do that through our rigorous academic programs, opportunities to study and internships abroad, internationally renowned visiting speakers, immersion in our vibrant academic environment, and events like our annual International Education Week. In fact, allow me to put in a plug for the inaugural Rajinder K. Kushal Lecture and 2019 International Education Week keynote address, which will be presented tomorrow evening at 7 p.m., right here in this rotunda, by British Indian writer and poet Banu Kapil. The lecture is supported by the new Kushal Endowment, and you'll be learning more about Dr. Kushal's generous gift later in tonight's program. Tonight, you're also going to hear about some of the outstanding accomplishment of our faculty, staff, alumni, and community organization, as well as our distinguished colleagues from Chubu University. And I know that, just like me, you're greatly looking forward to hearing their inspiring words and honoring their achievements. Thank you for being here, and thank you to all of you to support our students and faculties in their global engagement.
Thank you, Shanjala. In my excitement, I forgot to introduce him. But I'm assuming that most people know him. Does anybody want to put up their hand who doesn't know him? It's okay. It's okay. But I do. But again, just to further underscore, I think you could hear a little bit of his own accent. Sheldon is a physicist, but he's a world-renowned physicist who has actually grown up, worked, studied on 4 continents, and speaks 5 languages. So again, I think he underscores the vision of our president in terms of the kind of leadership that he's looking for on our campus as we move forward as a fearlessly first institution in the state of Ohio and on our planet. So, again, thank you, Shannon, for your welcoming remarks. I'm also delighted now to turn the awards ceremony over to my partner, David Kuntz, who, for those who don't know him, he comes from the Faculty of Engineering, where he is, though, in the position as being the Associate Dean for the Graduate College and the Associate Vice President for Research and Creative Activity. But he, like me, we've been together for 7 years with Jiyoung, creating this evening's event. And he's been challenged, and it is a challenge, to coordinate the selection committee that makes this event what it's all about. And that is about celebrating our incredible legacy through the award winners that we're going to speak about tonight. So over to David. Thank you.
Thank you, LJ. I've actually said most of what I wanted to say here about 7 years and everything, but I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight to help us really celebrate the work that our faculty, staff, alumni, our colleagues, and the community do to support international education. It's amazing that this is the 7th year that we've done this, that we've given out these awards. I know there's some prior winners here in the audience. I've seen you. Would you please stand? I'm on. As LJ said, I've had the pleasure of convening the committee of former winners who selected tonight's winners. In reviewing the nominations and the credentials of our nominees, I'll say that the selection committee was inspired by the dedication and the efforts of each of the nominees and what they put forth for the globalization of Ohio University. As we looked at them, each of the nominees make Ohio University and the world a better place, and we wanted to give each one of them an award. It was really difficult. In selecting the Faculty Award for Excellence in Global Engagement, the committee looked at 29 nominations for 26 separate faculty. Nominees were current or former full-time tenure or non-tenure track faculty at Ohio University who had demonstrated an excellence in promoting international education and global engagement in at least one of the areas of teaching, university or community service, or research. Before we give them out, I'd like to invite Dr. Dwayne Nellis, Ohio University's president, to the stage to help give out these awards. Thank you. Thanks again for your comments. Appreciate it. For each award to best represent the passion of the nomination, I would like to ask the nominator to come up and introduce the recipient. I'd like to invite Dr. Darlene Berryman up to the podium to introduce the winner of the 2019 Faculty Award for Excellence in Community Engagement.
So this is a bit intimidating because I want to make sure I don't screw this up. But it's truly an honor to be here to present tonight the Faculty Award for Excellence in Global Engagement to my dear friend and colleague, Dr. Mario Grijalva. He's done a number of really impactful things for the university, but also for a number of students and communities. So for those who don't know, Dr. Grijalva is a full professor in the Department of Biomedical Sciences in Heritage College. He's also been a mentor to me, whether he knows it or not, in terms of developing an institute and how an institute can be more than research, but impact communities and engage students. So I want to thank you for what you've done for me. He has spent much of his career in working to study and reduce the spread of Chagas disease, which is an infectious disease transmitted by the kissing bug and native to Ecuador. The remarkable part really of his career, though, is he's a bench scientist, he's an immunoparasitologist, and he's taken what he's learned at the bench and has really made an impact in communities. He has really translated his findings to make a difference in the world. In addition to that, he has done that and pulled a number of students and faculty along the way in his journey, which is really impressive. I want to give you a few stats that I think really illustrate his impact. He's had over 700 students that have traveled to Ecuador, and 450 specifically in his Infectious and Tropical Disease Institute programs. In 2009, he engaged students from Ohio and Catholic University to begin a community-engaged research project called the Healthy Living Initiative. And a cornerstone of that Healthy Living Initiative is to build homes that are safe from Chagas disease. And right now, as to date, correct me if I'm wrong, I think there's been 7 homes that his group has helped construct. Knowing the transmission of Chagas could be mitigated through better controls through the blood bank system in Ecuador, he has a major role in developing blood bank quality control for Ecuador, so making the blood supply safe for all of those in Ecuador, which is also very impactful. More than 50 faculty have traveled to Ecuador. So it's really made us as a faculty also more globally competent, which I think is very important as well. So for those who know Mario, you know, first of all, he can be a little bit convincing. You know he's an innovator, he's an entrepreneur, and he is really passionate about making a difference, and that's really what he's done. He's made a difference for not only our faculty, our students, also those faculty and students in Ecuador, but also for the communities he's served. So with that, I want to thank Mario and congratulate him on the award.
Mario.
Well, this is wonderful. Thank you very much. I'd like to start my story not in my time as a faculty member, but rather as a student here at Ohio University. Ohio University has given me many opportunities, which started when I was a graduate student here. During this time, I benefited greatly from the support of Ed Rowland, who is in the audience, and Bill Ramoser, and I experienced firsthand the tremendous impact that the support of a mentor can have on an individual's ability to realize their dreams. I'm grateful that in 1991, the founding members of the Infectious and Tropical Disease Institute had a desire to come to Ecuador and connected me to Ohio University. From the start, as a young assistant professor in 1999, I further experienced the nurturing support of the Heritage College of Osteopathic Medicine and of Ohio University, whose leadership saw value and invested in the ideas that I put forward. The 1804 Fund provided seed funding to start the Infectious Disease Research Laboratory in collaboration with my alma mater, Pontifical Catholic University of Ecuador. Although it was at the time an empty space, it was the most significant step towards expanding the research capacity in my home country. Little by little, with the help of an enthusiastic team, we created and implemented countless international research, educational, and service projects. The seed grew into the Center for Research on Health in Latin America, which now occupies a 6-story building where dozens of faculty and staff provide training to the next generation of students. I am proud for the work that we have accomplished and thank Dr. Berryman for sharing some of those highlights. As many of you already know, working internationally is very challenging. It requires not only time away from home, but also the navigation of different culture, political, social, and economic landscapes. But with those challenges also come great opportunities for personal growth, professional advancement, institutional development, and most importantly, the opportunity to improve other people's lives. Ohio University has a long tradition of international engagement and has made it possible for me to succeed. Furthermore, I feel we are ready to embrace challenges and to use the academic innovation as a tool to increase Ohio University prominence and competitiveness in a highly interconnected world. And I am excited to be part of this story. I appreciate the support of many people in this room, probably more than I could name, from those that schedule meetings to those that make decisions at the top. Because it takes a big group to make this particular story happen. I also want to thank my family, Fer, Dani, Gabriela, Bella, who have shared with me moments of triumph and celebration like this one, but also have been there in moments of doubt, frustration, and despair. Their constant presence, love, and encouragement are responsible for me being here. It is with great humility that I accept this award on behalf of my team and students, and reaffirm my commitment to continue to bring people together so we can use biomedical and social science knowledge to improve the lives and well-being of those whose potential is now limited by the burden of diseases and neglect. Thank you.
And thank you, Mario, for all that you do. The Staff Award for Excellence in Global Engagement recognizes a current full-time administrative or classified staff member at Ohio University who has been instrumental in advancing significant international understanding, global engagement, or international education at home or abroad. We're lucky at Ohio University to have so many dedicated people to help the students, alumni, faculty, and staff in developing and delivering the programs and services which make Ohio University a diverse campus of learners. I'd like to invite Dr. Jeff Callett to the podium for the announcement of the winner of the 2019 Staff Award for Excellence in Global Engagement.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Jeff Callett. My name is Gurmai Nagash. I am a professor of African literature and the director of African studies. I was going to mention that Jeff Callett is the sales manager of the Ohio University Press. But as we speak, he is traveling to the African Studies Association, which is held in Boston. It's opening today, so he asked me to do the honors. I would like also to acknowledge that some of I asked around because Jeff Callett could not be here. I was talking to people. It came really very late, so some of the people who know you very well, Jill, particularly Professor Steve Howard, who was the former director of the African Studies program, sent his appreciation, which I would sum up as, he described your career as being, he characterized it as robust and glowing. Jill is from Cape Town, South Africa, and a theater graduate of the University of Cape Town. Rejecting apartheid South Africa, she moved to the United States in 1979 and came to Athens with her family in 1981. She started working for the Ohio University Press in 1982 as a production assistant and eventually presided over the press's affiliation with the Raven Press of Johannesburg, which had been then established as an anti-apartheid publisher. In 2001, she was named executive editor, and in the same year, she established the Global and Comparative Studies series. In 2009, Gillian was promoted to editorial director, and then in 2013, to director of the Ohio University Press, in which position she served until her retirement in early 2019. Jill has burnished the careers of so many writers, including my own, with grace, good humor, and intelligence. At the same time, as director and editor-in-chief of Ohio University Press, she managed an institution which has brought pride and prestige to the university with a handsome publication program and which is the largest academic publisher in the state of Ohio. Jill Berkowitz's wide range of interests and her passion for intellectual engagement are revealed in the variety of titles and innovative series with global emphasis. I'll just mention some. Series in Ecology and History, Perspectives on Global Health, the Indian Ocean Studies series, the Cambridge Center of African Studies series, and the Polish and Polish-American Studies series, the Appalachian Studies series, and last but not least, the Modern African Writing series, a series which I had the privilege to be editor of for some years. Thank you. Those of us who have witnessed Jill's work at Ohio University Press and her commanding presence at the Ohio University Press exhibits at the annual African Studies Association conventions think of her as a rock star. And indeed, she is a rock star. During those exhibits, young scholars, book manuscripts in hand, line up to make an appointment to see Jill and to see how their work may fit into one of the Ohio University Press's African Studies series. Sometimes you may, kindly direct them to another press. But nevertheless, many faculty members across this country owe the publication of their scholarships and their promotions, in part, to the editorial skills and personal attention of Jillian Berkowitz. Thank you.
Jillian Berkowitz, please come to the podium.
Well, it's hard to live up to the rock star. So thank you very much, Provost Jalali, President Nellis, Dr. Edmonds, and everyone on the International Education Week and the Global Engagement Award Selection and Planning Committees. Thank you so much, Girmay, for your very kind comments, and I do want to thank Jeff Callett for nominating me. It is true, he is at the African Studies meeting where I know the press has at least 2 finalists for top awards. We'll find out on Saturday. So this award gives me a welcome opportunity to thank everyone at Ohio University Press, staff and boards, for their support, energy, professionalism, and their commitment to the press's mission as an international publishing house. It is Ohio University Press and its record of global engagement that is being recognized here this evening. I want to thank Steve Howard, mentioned earlier, for his moral and academic support, and for the grant funds that he made available to the Press African Studies Publishing Program. It was this support over many years that allowed the press to reach out and make critical connections in order to fulfill this mission. I want to thank all the excellent CIS area consultants with whom I have had the pleasure of working, and also the distinguished series editors at universities around the United States and the world who have worked so hard to shape books that have burnished the global reputation of the press and also of Ohio University. These scholars and their international networks have played a significant part in extending and strengthening the press's reach and stature internationally. Professor Tom Carpenter, who also retired this year, a former chair of the press editorial board, contributed to the professional development fund that allowed staff to go to the Frankfurt Book Fair each year to network, observe, and learn, as well as to seek out international partners and rights and translation arrangements for Ohio University Press titles. Because it is one thing to prepare and publish excellent manuscripts, but it is another thing to make those books available to readers around the world, especially in the places about which one is publishing. I have a personal story that I'd like to tell, so pardon me if any of you have heard it. At a reception in Johannesburg, upon hearing, my daughter worked there and around the continent for about 12 years. And at a reception, a man, upon hearing that she was from Athens, looked down at her and said, "You probably don't know this, but Ohio University Press has one of the best African studies lists around." So she apparently nodded and said, "Yeah, I'd heard something like that." Ohio University Press titles on shelves around the world, in libraries, bookstores, even airports, are a tribute to the press's global network of academic and business relationships and partnerships. So I grew up in Cape Town, a city at the bottom of the world, in a country at a time where the people were divided against each other in rage and shame, and where books were censored and banned. In 1975, the playwright Peter Dirk Ace wrote a play called God's Forgotten, about a country's isolation under despotic rule. I worked at the Space Theatre in 1975, and I clearly remember that feeling of isolation and powerlessness. And I am so grateful to my dear colleagues at Ohio University Press and throughout the university for their commitment to the sharing of ideas and stories around the world. I want to thank the authors with whom I have worked, because they represent the commitment to humanities scholarship and international collaboration that we are celebrating this evening. I would urge you to support the Ohio University Press's Young Scholars First Book Fund that supports the publishing of critical first books by early career scholars and writers on the African continent and in the Appalachian counties of the United States. The press is in very good hands, and on behalf of my former colleagues, I thank you again for this recognition and honor.
The Alumni Award for Excellence in Global Engagement recognizes alumni who have demonstrated outstanding contributions to global education and international programs offered through the university. Nominees must have been instrumental in strategically advancing Ohio University's reputation as a recognized global leader. I would like to invite to the podium Dr. Nanake Owusu-Kwarteng to introduce the 2019 Alumni Award for Excellence in Global Engagement.
Good evening, Mr. President, honorees, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is with humble but excited humility that I represent Garden City University College, Kenyasi Kumasi in Ghana, to introduce a fellow Bobcat to be awarded the 2019 Alumni Global Excellence Engagement Award. He started in communication, that's the big word now, as a newspaper vendor, or graphic boy, as we call them in Ghana. upgraded as a messenger, did a career change as an accounts clerk, loved what he saw in that profession, determined and earned 3 degrees, one from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in Kumasi, Ghana, and 2 here in Athens, Ohio. The visionary and philanthropic niche within him saw first SITMAS, and then later on Garden City University College, established with collaboration from friends and the regulators back home in Ghana. His rainmaker niche and attributes saw and has seen his influence in the lives of the thousands of Garden City University graduates, in the lives of the current students numbering about 2,000, and in the lives of the hundreds of staff back home in Ghana, including myself, and here in the United States. Please permit me to introduce and call to the podium the founder and chancellor of Garden City University College, Kenya Kumasi, a bobcat of 1983, Mr. Albert Akwa, certified public accountant.
OH. No, that didn't ring very well. OH. One more time. OH. Thank you very much. Ohio University has taught me a lot of things. And the first one that I learned here was that hot dog was not a dog meat lying on some fire somewhere. Because when I first came here, I met a friend in 15 North Congress. And he told me he was going to work, and that he worked at a hot dog stand on the way to Nelson. So I said, what? Anyway, so he actually grabbed me, brought me to his stand for me to see what a hot dog was. And that was the first lesson I learned here. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm extremely honored to be receiving such an important award. Alumni Award for Excellence in Global Engagement. That sounds mouthful, doesn't it? I am earnestly grateful for the recognition I've received for my work, because I'm certain that everyone who was nominated for this award was as deserving. My greatest appreciation goes to Dr. Nana Kwaku Owusu-Kwarteng for nominating me, and to Dr. Lorna Edmonds and Ms. Bose Maposa for taking their precious time to travel to Kumasi to see firsthand the work we are doing. at Garden City University College. I want to emphasize that I share this award with the hardworking faculty and staff of Garden City University College, both past and present. You know, as a 14-year-old boy running around in the city of Kumasi selling newspapers, I could not have possibly imagined that one day I'll be standing before such a body of renowned professors, students, and accomplished individuals to receive such an award. I completed my elementary school in Ghana at the age of 1968, and I was about 15 years. But due to poverty and hardships, my parents could not afford to enroll me in high school. While most of my classmates and my neighborhood friends were going to high school, I engaged myself just to sell the newspapers to get money to live on a daily basis. But by divine intervention, I happened to go to the employment center. And the first day that I went there, a gentleman came in, stood by myself, and asked me, "What am I doing here?" And I told him I was looking for a job. He told me if I get my card, I should bring it to his office. That gentleman is sitting down here. His name is Mr. John Osetutu. That was really a watershed moment in my life, because the job that I had as a messenger gave me money that I could pay to go for evening school after I finished that work. While I was doing that work, I also took advantage of his typewriter, which was sitting down there. And most of us here know what the typewriter is. So after my morning routine, I would take that book with the typewriter and the book, and I would sit and I would do that ASDF column LKJ. And if you do it about 60 times, 100 times, you become very proficient. Within 6 months, I have actually been typing 40 words per minute. I took the typist grade 2 exams and I passed. So now I was promoted from a messenger to a typist clerk. He advised me that, you cannot sit here and do this all the time. So I'll give you my books, and I used that books to study for the GCE O level. Those of us from Africa knows that that was a very important exam to pass before you can go to university. When I passed that, my employers were very impressed, because I'll become a typist clerk, I'll become an accounting clerk, and so they actually sponsored me for my bachelor's degree. So I enrolled in 1978 at Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, where I graduated with a bachelor's in social science. After working briefly, a colleague introduced me to Ohio University, and I applied. And Ohio University provided me the tuition scholarship that enabled me to come. I got the tuition scholarship, and I got Nelson. Nelson Kitchen was my favorite place in my times here, because I lived on Nelson every day. I made sure I get my 20 hours every week that we are allowed to work, so that I can have enough money to pay for my room. Thank God, in my second year, I got a research assistantship from the economics department and made things a little bit better. When most people hear about my work, the two most common questions they ask me: what motivated you to start a college? And how did you do it? As I've talked about my background, the time I came up, there were only 3 universities in Ghana, and it was very hard to get in. So it has been on my heart. And most of us from other foreign countries, when we are applying for international studies, we're always thinking about, oh, we want to go back home and help and do something to help. So that thing has been bugging me for a long time, and so I've always been thinking, if I get something, I want to go home and do something to help. So it has all been on my heart. So when I started working after OU, I went to Washington, D.C., I got a job. It was on my heart. And to do that, I needed to have a savings. So I purposed myself. At that time, I was single and working as an assistant controller at a bank. I got not a whole lot of money. People who work in bank knows they have high positions, but the pay doesn't commensurate with the positions. So, but what I got, I made sure I saved. For 5 years continuous, I saved $1,000 every month. So in about 5 years' time, I have about $60,000. And that, to me, was what I used to start the school. In addition, I found used tables, chairs, computers. I could travel from Washington to Charlotte, North Carolina, and buy stuff, drive it in the truck myself, and ship it to Africa. The motivation was that I need to create opportunities for young people like me when I was that age who could not get into those big schools in Ghana. So we started the College of Information Technology and Management Studies, a huge name, but all that it was a 2-year program in repairing computers. Because at that time I felt people who are from high school may need some skills, vocation and entrepreneurship. And that's why we started. Eventually, in 2005, we changed the name to Garden City University College because Kumasi was named the Garden City of West Africa by Her Majesty, the Queen of England. And so Kumasi, most people in Ghana knows Garden City as Kumasi. That's why we chose that name. Since about 2005, when we started, Garden City has enrolled approximately 9,000 students with 98% graduating rate. We have produced 42% of these students were in the allied health, nursing, midwifery, lab technology, dental hygiene. Basically, what we chose to do was things that were not in the Ghanaian system is what we started. So we started top-up nursing from the RN to BSN. People were traveling 200 miles to just come to school for a weekend. So right now, I can boldly say we have transformed the nursing profession in the whole country. In addition, we have provided over 200 jobs for faculty. When I started, a land in my village was about $1,000. Now you can't even buy a piece of land, 100 by 90, for $20,000 because of the school. People have built hostels all over the place. Employment, the indirect employment, I cannot count. In closing, I would want to thank Ohio University and specifically the Center for International Studies for giving me the scholarship to cover my studies. The graduate studies, classes, seminars, discussions, and workshops that I participated in opened my mind to the boundless opportunities to serve the community around me. I also want to thank my wife, Dr. Phyllis Akwa, and our children for the sacrifices that they endured. You believe me, if you put $1,000 away, vacation gets canceled. I thank Mr. John Osetutu for his guidance and the opportunities that he gave me. And I want to thank my many friends for their encouragement and helping and providing me, giving me a helping hand as I went along. I thank everybody. Thank you.
What a great story. Chubu University has been a historic partner to Ohio University, and I'm very proud to introduce Professor David Bell, who will introduce this year's recipient of the Tanaka Ohio Award.
So, the Tanaka Ohio Award is ultimately about the willingness to cross cultural borders and to survive and to thrive, and then to even go further and encourage others to do the same. When I first came to Ohio University, I very quickly heard stories about the Tanaka family. And I learned that every Friday night after classes, the Tanaka family, and I think there were about 7 of them, okay, piled into their car and drove to Washington, D.C. And they went there because that was the nearest Japanese school, so the kids could keep up their Japanese schooling. I can't imagine in those days how long that trip took. I don't know, 9, 10 hours? And then all those bathroom breaks? That story tells us 2 other aspects of the Tanaka Ohio Award. It's not just an award that honors Tanaka Sensei, but all the members of the Tanaka family. They were all crossing cultural borders, and it also tells us that crossing cultural borders also involves the importance of maintaining the original cultural identity. That's why they went to DC. When I arrived in Athens in August of 1999, I've been here 20 years now, Greg King had just graduated from the linguistics department. He graduated from the MA Linguistics program and was heading to Chubu to teach on the OPELT program. That's the Ohio Program of English Language Teaching, which was jointly founded by Ohio and Chubu. And what it does is it prioritizes the hiring of MA linguistics grads from OU. And we've had a long series of teachers we've sent to the OPEL program. Greg had also graduated from the BA linguistics program in 1996. So we have a real double bobcat here. But what perhaps is more important to know about Greg is that he was the first OU undergrad to do a semester at Chubu. That was 1993. And he liked it so much, he went back the following year in 1994. There must have been a romantic connection there, really. Since 1999, Greg has been the cross-cultural advisor and on-site director of the Japanese Study Abroad. And that's a program he created with Professor Tadashi Shiozawa. The program also includes a service learning component. And I can tell you that is a fabulous program that you created there. Since then, he's been encouraging, advising, and preparing Chubu students for the study away programs. And on his frequent visits to Athens, he takes time to encourage OU undergrads to study away at Chubu. And I must say that on his visits to Athens, Greg tries very hard to maintain his original Bobcat identity by checking out the new beers at Jackie O's. Have you tried the 1566 yet? This evening, yes. We'll join you. So I'm very excited that Greg King, our own Bobcat, is receiving this award tonight.
Good evening. I'm humbled and honored to receive this award, especially with so many distinguished other awardees this evening. I was very impressed with everyone and a bit nervous now since everybody's done so many great things. It's great to be back here in Athens. As Dr. Bell said, I come here often. I'm going back to Japan on Saturday, but I'll be back here again in 2 weeks to pick up my students. There, you can see some of them are in the back there at was that table 12, I think? I can't see that for 14 or something. But yeah, they're great. We have 35 students that have come this year, and I've been lucky enough to be able to prepare them before they come to Ohio University. Like Dr. Bell said, I was on the first study abroad program from Ohio University to Chubu University. I'd never planned to go to Japan. I'd never planned to live in Japan. I had no major interest in Japan. One day I was in the dormitory in Crawford when I was a freshman, and there was a guy who was studying something strange, some strange writing. And I looked at him, I said, "What are you studying there?" And he said, "That's Japanese." He's like, "You couldn't do it." I'm like, oh, I couldn't. So next semester, I guess it was quarters back then, I started taking Japanese. And then they came up with this study abroad program. And I was like, I can't go over there, and it costs a lot of money to go overseas and whatnot. And I had a friend who was in my class, James Glazer, and he kept pestering me and pestering me and pestering me. He's like, "We're going, you're gonna go." So I relented. My mother helped me. She was a French major at Ohio State, but then got married and never studied abroad, so she really wanted me to study abroad. And so I ended up going to Chubu, and it was great. I had a great time. And what was really great about it was that Dr. Jerry Kurzik and Jung-hee Kurzik, Jung-hee's over here, they did a great job planning that study abroad program. And I'm really indebted to both of them, and seeing them really inspired me to want to do the same sort of things. I remember we were on some tour somewhere, I believe we were in Takayama in Gifu Prefecture, and seeing Jerry talking fluently in Japanese with the guy, I'm like, wow, he really understands what he's saying, and he's really, conversing. And my Japanese level was really low at that time, so I really aspired to be like Jerry, and Jung-hee was always great in class, and so I learned a lot from her as well. So that's where I got my start, was here at Ohio University. And I try to push my students to come here as well. We have every year students who are a bit uneasy. They're like, I don't know if I want to go over there, I'm really nervous. And we had a girl 2 years ago who she really was resisting. She was going to cancel, and I kept pressing her, and I kept pressing her. And she finally came, and she had a great time, of course. It's a great program that Jerry has set up here. And his service learning project was good. And they go to an elementary school every Friday, and our students share about Japanese culture, and the students at the elementary school share about American culture. And that's a really good program. We have a student, probably several, but one that I know of who ended up coming to study abroad at Chubu after he had this, we call it Chubu Buddy Program. And now he's trying to go back to Japan. I just wrote a recommendation letter for him for the JET program, which is a program for young graduates to go to Japan to teach English, team teach English at elementary through high school. So yeah, it's a great program. So yeah, I'd really like to thank both the Kurziks for their support and the linguistics department for their support as well. I'd also like to thank Dr. Christopher Thompson. He's not here this evening, but he's been a great partner throughout the years. Since 1999, we've done several programs with students coming from Ohio University to Chubu. We had a program set up in Iwate Prefecture where they did a homestay. We also, when that kind of fizzled out, you know, homestay programs can only last for so long, we started another one down in Asuke, which is part of Toyota City in Aichi Prefecture. And then 2011, March 11th, there was a big earthquake and an ensuing tsunami, and Chris got quick to work and we got connected with Iwate Prefectural University, and we've been taking students up there on doing tsunami relief and helping the residents up there, delivering water to residents who are in temporary housing and whatnot. And several faculty from Ohio University have also joined us on that as well. Somebody spoke earlier about Dr. Howard. Dr. Howard, he came with us before. I know Dr. Shields, he's been there with us before as well. So that's a really good program. We're going to start a new and innovative program, hopefully next year, with, see, this was in conjunction with, let me find my notes here. I'm sorry, Dr. Sabra from the College of Fine Arts, and with another grad from the linguistics department, Pat Maher, who's at Iwate Prefectural University. So that's a new project, global engagement project that we hope to be working on in the near future. I also look forward to working with Dr. Greg Kessler in the College of Education, along with my colleague David Lawrence, who's also in the English department with me at Chubu University. We have a COIL project that we're going to set up next year, hopefully, for the students who are coming to Ohio University, and they would hopefully learn about Ohio from the Ohio students before they come, and hopefully our students can teach those students about Japan as well. And LJ was talking about that earlier, the COIL. I forget what COIL stands for, but when she said it, I was like, yeah, that's COIL. So, well, I'm looking forward to doing that as well. And lastly, I'd really like to thank my students. I mean, I love coming here and seeing them having a good time. When I bring them over, sometimes I will accompany them in August when they come over, and it's problem after problem after problem. And, you know, they don't want to see me go. And they're like, oh, don't leave, don't leave. And then when I come back to pick them up in December, they don't really want to have too much to do with me. Which is good for me. I can do whatever I want. But yeah, they don't want to leave. It's hard for them to leave. They have a great time here. Several students have come back to visit and whatnot. We've had a few marriages along the way. So yeah, it's a great program. And I really thank Ohio University for all the opportunities they have given me. So yeah, thank you very much.
Next, I would like to invite to the podium City Council President Chris Knisely.
Good evening. On behalf of Mayor Patterson and myself, greetings from the city of Athens, and also to our special guests from Saudi Arabia. Welcome to Athens. and a sincere thanks for our Community Award. Our town flourishes in part because of our diverse student population. We've been fortunate to have students involved in our city commissions. These and other students have been part of discussions that have led to city policy changes, so significant involvement. International university students not only enlighten our city policy, they brighten our lives. Lifelong friendships that reach across the globe have been formed in this small town. I think that diversity among our population also encourages the collaboration that thrives between the city and the university. The Athens Transit bus system has experienced rapid growth in the number of riders and the routes they travel, in part because of the city and university have worked together. We strive to provide a quality service with our bus system. Our bus driver, Jeff Workman's efforts to reach out to the international students and faculty is the human side of the award to Athens Transit. How proud we are that one of our drivers would learn greetings in the students' native language and play music from their home country. How proud we are for the leadership of Mary Daly, who is our director at Athens Transit and is here tonight to accept the award. How proud we are that with city and university working together, we can foster a bit of global engagement through our Athens Transit. Working together, we are smarter and stronger. Thank you so much.
So last year, we added the Community Award for Excellence in Global Engagement to recognize the role that those in the community play in supporting our globalization efforts at Ohio University. I'd like to invite Anna K. Rowe to the stage.
Good evening, everyone. I'm very honored to be introducing this year's Community Award for Excellence in Global Engagement. This award was introduced in 2018 following discussions in the Office of Global Affairs and International Studies and an acknowledgement of the important role played by our community stakeholders and partners outside of Ohio University. This award recognizes those who continue to provide and enriching global connections which advance international engagement, cultural immersion, and partnership among the international community at Ohio University. The Community Engagement Award honors this legacy, and this year's recipient is another shining example of the impact of these efforts. The Athens Public Transit has been an integral part of the Athens community and has certainly stood by its mission to identify and safely meet the mobility needs of our community. The predecessor to what we now know as the Athens Public Transit was the Athens County Transit, which served the entire county and began operations around 40 years ago. Due to financial challenges, the transit was discontinued. However, years later, the city of Athens came together and began working towards the development of what is now known as the Athens Public Transit, which has been in operation for around 15 years and is operated by HAPCAP. In July 2016, the Bobcat Pass was introduced, an ongoing partnership between Ohio University and the city of Athens. This program makes Athens Public Transit free for any Ohio University student or employee presenting a valid Ohio ID. This new offering was well received by both students and faculty alike. Along with the change came extended hours for lines 3 and 4 in the evenings until 10 p.m., Monday to Saturday. The transit also extended its bus routes recently to Albany and Nelsonville, and this again was in response to the needs of commuters. The Athens Transit drivers are a big part of what makes the service so great. The drivers and staff are a testament of the inclusive culture, mutual respect, and the welcoming atmosphere that the Athens Transit represents here in Athens. This is part of what makes our community so special and helps to make our international students in particular feel very welcome. Through listening, the willingness to go outside of our comfort zone, and solidarity, we can not only support each other, but learn from our international students, faculty, and staff. These experiences are so valuable and allow us to see the world differently, to challenge stereotypes, and to broaden our horizons. The Athens Public Transit employs around 25 drivers. The transit drivers are highly trained and a dedicated group. From vehicle inspections at 6:30 a.m. to the final cleaning routine when they get back to the garage at the end of a long day. These are the people who keep the system running. So the next time you ride the transit, I want you to take a moment to thank Andrew, Ars, Charlie, Craig, Greg, Hatem, Jeff S., Jeff W., Jenny, Josie, Kathy, Christy, Misty, Paul, Rich, Rosemary, Sam, Teresa, or Wade for making your trip possible. Along with the dedicated staff, and I know Mary Daly was mentioned earlier, and she will soon join us on the stage, along with Amber Hewitt, David Smith, and David Hope. The transit would not be possible without all these individuals. So today we want to thank the Athens Public Transit for being willing to create spaces for empathy, for fostering meaningful connections and relationships, and for really helping us to be stronger and better together. I know at Ohio University and Athens is known as one of the poorest counties in our country, and we all know this. However, we're also one of the best college towns in the United States. So there is truly an abundance of knowledge, skills, and experiences in our small town. We are truly interconnected, and if you have any doubt, I'd like to invite you to just take the transit, ride the transit one day, and to experience, listen, and observe. So in recognition of their stellar service, dedication, and commitment to global engagement in our community, it is my pleasure to present this year's Community Engagement Award to the Athens Public Transit. Thank you. And while Mary Daly makes her way to the stage, there is a short video that we'll be sharing on the transit. And I'd like to thank Nikita Ford, who is here today, for her excellent work on making this video possible. Along with many of the participants in this video are here today, all international students. So really, this video would not have been possible without you, Nikita, and all the other international students who participated.
Like falafel on their own. Like falafel on their own or something?
It's like round balls.
Yeah, brown balls.
And you put it in sauce or something.
Yeah.
Really good.
It's good. It's one of the traditional things back at home.
So your food is similar to the rest of it, the rest of the Middle East.
So falafel is technically from Palestine, but also like it's spread with globalization, it's everywhere. Like even nowadays you can find falafel here.
My first week here in winter 2016, that I started using the public transit, and then you even have to pay like $1 to ride. I think it was only a year after that the universities had some sort of partnership, probably with the city, that allows students at OU to ride for free.
The first year that I was here, the map, it wasn't really work well, but now I think it's worked a little more accurately, and we can schedule and seeing the schedule and how our bus coming like more accurately. That's what I'm trying to say.
At the beginning it was until I think 7:45 or so. But now we have 2 lines are extended until 10 p.m., which is really cool, like line 4 and line 3.
Hi, I'm Dia. I'm from Indonesia. I really like the Athens Transit because It helps me to commute from my place to the campus in a very convenient time.
So at first when I saw the bus, I was a little surprised because it's too small, but then after a while I realized like we don't really need the bigger bus to go around Athens. Some other bus drivers, they were just trying to learn our language, where we come from.
And I really like it when the driver greet me in my native language. I have no idea why he can speak in my language, but it feels like home.
I remember a few times the weather affecting your mood, or it's a stress, coming from all directions. You're just in and quiet. Some drivers would engage you. Hey, what's up? How are you doing? Do you hear from people back home on how is school going? How long do you still have to go here? Sometimes they really engage you in such, small discussions and conversation that takes your mind away from the stress, from the daily stress until when you get off the bus.
Thank you. Especially for me as an international student, it is important to take down any barrier, any stereotype, and this way we can start building bridges more. We know them, they know us, so we feel that there's a relationship more than they are only bus drivers.
I'm really not sure how to follow that. We do take great pride and appreciate this recognition. We are out there every day, the guys are, and ladies, doing this every day. They're the ground floor of what we're doing. So I really want to appreciate them. And guys, I'm going to say your name and at least stand up for me, please. So, Tom Rogers, Josie Taylor, Craig Hunt, Jeff Workman, which you recognize from the video, and Christy Potter. Christy does one of the jobs that most of us don't want to do. She drives the late night bus till 3:30 in the morning, so that's a challenge. But like I said, I'd like to thank everyone for bestowing this great honor on us. Our purpose is to provide transportation from point A to point B, but for everybody in the community that needs help, school, work, play, whatever that basic role is, it's a vital need in our community. But not only are we assisting people with their travel needs, we get to wind up being somewhat of an instructor role, and that's one of the great pleasures in our jobs. Not only do we try to help people learn how to navigate our town, we also get to introduce the ways of Americans, Ohioans, and Athens Countyans. Yes, let's face it, we can and will, are very unique in many ways. Along with the international community learning from us, we get the privilege of learning from them. Most of us have not had the opportunity to visit other countries, so you're bringing a piece of your world into ours. We have frequently commented that we should write a book about some of our experiences and stories that we've heard on the bus. I've been a part of Athens Public Transit since 2006. I started as a driver, and one of the things as my position has changed that I miss is more direct contact with the people. So that's something that many of the drivers comment and like. One time I had a couple get on the bus, and as an example of learning both ways, and they wanted to know what the little round things with hats on were. And it took me a minute, and then it dawned on me. Do you guys have any idea? Acorns. They didn't have oak trees where they were, and they were acorns, but it was little round things with hats, and I thought that was so neat. And another time I had a gentleman come into my office to learn about the bus system, and I was explaining things to him when he interrupted me and said, "You mean the bus stops moving so that you can get on?" And I was like, "Well, yeah." And he said, "In his country, they don't." So, he says, "You run and jump on." Me, I'd wind up under the bus, I think. But over the years, the drivers have shared many, many tales and stories of interactions. We could be here all night telling stories and talking about it. But learning a few words of the different languages is something, as you know, that some of the drivers have taken it upon themselves to do, and I greatly appreciate that extra effort that they put in. There's a lot of different, one of the drivers was telling me about the different dialects that they've learned from inside the same country, which is like with us, where we have our Southern, Texan, Boston, and again, Athens County has their own little twist on things. But frequent conversations on the bus can be anything from cooking, sports, makeup, fashion. Holiday celebrations and traditions are shared and compared. So many close relationships have been developed between passengers and the drivers. So what we have here is a small representation, as she said earlier, that we have 25 drivers. They couldn't all come tonight because somebody's out there driving the bus right now. So they are the ground floor. All this recognition is because of what they do. And guys, I'm gonna get mushy and teary if I'm not careful. But they take it the step further than their job really requires. You know, basically turn the wheel, press the pedal is really all they need to do, but they all go way over and above that. So while I'm the one that's standing here chattering to you, this thank you comes from the entire Athens Public Transit, and we thank you for recognizing us for what we do, and we want to thank you for the gifts of knowledge and the privilege of providing and meeting your transportation needs. So again, thank you.
So thank you, David, again, for helping us select, which you could see was a pretty incredible, I guess, insight into the kinds of giving that our staff, our faculty, and our alumni bring to Ohio University. And in addition, what our community does to make the story whole in terms of offering all of our students that rich experience of being part and feeling like they belong in Athens as a global community. You know, there's nothing more important than all students at Ohio feeling like they are all Bobcats. And I think that's the key. And I think having a chance to highlight the public transit tonight only speaks to that. And I have to mention, Gillian Ice is here tonight, and in the summer, she had a group of Fulbrighters in primary care from Egypt. And it was actually at a dinner evening where, in my home, where these colleagues of hers were just effusive about the magical way that the transit system opened Athens to them. And then when we mentioned it to others, it just was, you could see that this was very much part of how we felt at Ohio University about you and about Athens. But I'm chattering a little bit because now I'm gonna try and not get too emotional, actually, because, and I knew I wouldn't be able to do it. I was kind of holding off a little bit. So at Ohio University, you know, we have this incredible rich legacy of building this history. And I said, you know, President Nellis has brought in this global vision where he wants to leverage our past and see the richness of our community. And you've just showcased that again tonight. And in 2017, we created a Lifetime Achievement Award for 2 special colleagues. And we are standing on the shoulders of both of them, but in particular, one person this evening, Marianne Flournoy. And in 2017, we celebrated this incredible person who, and I'm going to try and paraphrase some of the really memorable remarks of Catherine Kutcher, who is our assistant director in the Center for International Studies, but a close friend, colleague, and I also believe Marianne was a mentor of hers in terms of how she portrayed this incredible person, Marianne Flournoy. So in 2017, we celebrated her. Tonight, gosh, are we showcasing pictures? I hope so. So tonight we're going to honor her legacy because Marianne passed away. On October 23rd? Okay, good. And I'm really pleased, as I try to move on, I'm delighted that tonight we have Hailey and Annie and Katie, the daughter and granddaughters, if you could please stand up, of Marianne. And although Don, her husband, couldn't be here tonight, I know he's thinking about us. He was at the ISU dinner on Sunday night, and they were just an incredible partners in terms of mobilizing our global community and building excellence here. So let me just try and paraphrase some of the things that Kat said and that were also reflected in the story about Marianne that her family put together. And I'm not going to go into great detail, but this is her, as I think Kat eloquently captured her. She was a fierce, and I mean fierce, supporter of social justice. She was an anchor for so many students here at Ohio University. She was an anchor for so many students in the elementary school where she was a teacher. You know, she was ahead of the diversity and inclusion story. She lived diversity and inclusion and fostering cooperation, which really is what global engagement is all about. And she was very much a part of Ohio University in so many ways. You know, she was the associate director of the Center for International Studies for many, many years in the 80s and the 90s. And that was a time when the growth of globalization at Ohio University really was spawned. And again, the legacy of many of the colleagues in the room here tonight that we're celebrating were part of her story. And she just played an integral role in this. Both they had students to their home, and then she was moving programs in the center, but she was also all across campus, engaging. And so she was really an incredible, pleasant, thoughtful force to be reckoned with. If you can have all of those qualities, she had them. And we will honor this as we move forward. She connected through the Ohio Valley International Council. She connected our international students with her students and students through the grade 6 or grade school system, so that students who had never met students from another country, students from Appalachia, I should say, who'd never met students from another country had a chance to say hello and just have a glimpse into that world, which, you know, today you can see the leadership, you can see her vision. And last but not least, she's a steadfast agent of change, and she will be an agent of change forever, because one of her legacies with her family, you know, she and Dawn had this vision. You know, we talked tonight about the importance of building this university community relationship. And through the Sugarbush Foundation, that is what they have done, and that is what they are doing. And Hailey is the president of the foundation. So you can see her vision is here forever. And I don't know if there's any other way we can describe Marianne. Have I done justice to her, Kat? Thank you. But really a very special person. And when I first arrived at Ohio, I know I can do this. She was one of the first people to come and welcome me. You know, she was one of the first people who said, anything we can do to help you find your way and navigate the university and the community, we are here for you. And so, yeah, she was just that kind of person. She was here for all of us. And I think that vision of all of us is very much a part of the vision of our leadership here as well. It's not about we and they and us and them. It's about all of us. And she really reflected that in her whole life. And I hope the pictures did justice to it. So now I'd like to segue, if you don't mind, into the next piece, because if I say anything, I think I've done not so bad, actually. You know, as you can see, she had a huge impact on so many people, including me. But another nice piece of this story is that, like many people in the international community, she, and like you, we're all giving, right? We're all giving in our own way. And we wanted to celebrate tonight and recognize another silver lining. And that's the colleagues who, in addition to being part of the Ohio community, and many of them are now our Ohio alumni, are celebrating in their own imitable way through endowments. You know, key programs, key special people at Ohio University. And in the last decade, I think the number of donations that have leveraged, like before 2009, 10, we had two major donations. One I would like to mention is Chubu University, that contributed in a significant way to Yamada International House, where we are now, one of our offices is based. We have 3 offices, that's one. And so we hear Chubu every day because they helped renovate our building, you know, quite visionary of a university. And then we also had our Malaysian government made a major contribution and endowment back in the 80s. But it's really been in the last decade that we've started to bear witness to other special colleagues who've wanted to give to global engagement. And before I mention our really special one, let me just list some of the ones that we're now seeing communities invest in. The Thomas and Ann Walker Latin American Studies Endowment is a good example. The Fuller Award for Southeast Asian Studies is another major endowment. The Ram and Sushila Gawande Award is a major endowment, including a chair in the College of Arts and Sciences. And we're delighted that in April, as part of Giving Day, we actually received, I think, 20 plus donations to various international activities. And then the Office of the International Student and Faculty Services was the recipient of an endowment from a person named Dr. Harvey Stedman. And Dr. Stedman is a graduate of the Patton College of Education. His wife just passed away. And as her legacy, he made an endowment in her name that will grow. And although he is not an international student and is part of the Patton College, his wife worked in international admissions and then in international student support. And so he's given a gift to the Office of International Student and Faculty Services to provide essentially a fund for international students that he's asked as part of her legacy that donations from her family and friends go towards this gift. So I think we're starting to see part of this. But that then segues into, I think, a really special gift that we are celebrating tonight. And I don't know if you've noticed, there is a little bit of a theme tonight because, and it's India. And I hope you can see the colors and the exuberance and the beauty of this part of our world here this evening. But Raj and Manju Kaushal, again, were good colleagues of Marianne, part of that story of growing our international community at that time. And then in 2012, Raj received a special gift from one of his students. And I'm going to let Raj mention it and describe it in detail. But I must say that gift, which at the time in 2012 was worth about $50,000, has now grown significantly, such that we're now in a very strong position. And the vision of that endowment was to bring special people who could come and share the vision of India in whatever way they could. And so this is the first year that we're able to celebrate this endowment and celebrate this with our keynote address this week is Banu Kapil, who is actually at Cambridge as a poet right now, and she is speaking tomorrow night as our keynote speaker. And for those, and what she's talking about is Notes for the Future Before It Has Arrived, the Coming Power of the Stranger. And I think it's quite timely as we talk about the mobility and the displacement, but then the arrival of all these incredible immigrants within North America and around the world. So we're really looking forward to her speaking. She wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the vision of that endowment. And that vision of that endowment would not be here if it wasn't for our excellence in research and education and service from colleagues like Raj Koshal. So I would like to welcome this very special emeritus professor in economics from the College of Arts and Sciences and a former director of International Development Studies in the Center for International Studies to receive a gift or a plaque on our behalf and a chance for you to say a few words in celebration of you and all of those friends who have invested in you and your legacy. Please, Raj, come and join us.
Well, it is kind of surprise and great function. She has done a great job, and I think she made whole this thing very special. Dr. Edmund does things very well, you see, and we are lucky to have her here at Ohio University. Now, I also would like to thank President Neelas, Provost Dajanali, and Vice Provost Edmonds, and honored guests for taking time to attend this grand international gala. You see, I joined Ohio University in 1965, so it's a long 54 years. And retired after 37 years of service. Now, some of you may be wondering why I'm here. Well, I have to tell you people a story about that I came 1965. This town does not have anything. One grocery store. And they didn't know what is ginger, what is coriander. So I came from New Delhi, and then I came to Rochester, New York, which is a big town. So you can imagine, I thought I will stay 1 year. But it so happens that without my asking, that I want to stay, etc. My chairman comes in month of February and says, I have given you 14% raise. I said, let's try, even if town is not that great for me, let's try more. So after that, you can imagine, I got many offers from Pittsburgh, Dayton, and all that thing. And looking at the environments and climate of Athens, I said no, money cannot buy. Like in Pittsburgh, Duquesne University was ready to give me 1.5 times more what I was making here. And somehow my chairman learned that I'm considering going. They immediately gave me more money. But I didn't want to go, actually, you see. And with the result, you will be surprised that my son and my daughter-in-law, when they were young, they didn't like this town. But then my son, as a cardiologist, came here and without discussing with me that he's going to come back to Athens, Ohio. I asked him, why have you come to Athens, Ohio? He said, Dad, you have raised us here in this good climate, good environments. I want to raise my children also same way. So this is the story of my coming to Athens. But going back to I think many of the people even don't know that international program or study started in 1965. Ohio University got a professor, Norman Palmer, from Texas. He was the starting point. But you see, it has been, for me, truly been an honor to have been so intimately involved with the Center of International Studies during my time in Athens. From my very first year, that is 1965, I began sitting on various committees at the Center for International Studies. I also served as Director of International Development Studies for 2 years. Then I retired at that time, you see. Otherwise, I would have continued. I got so much opportunities going to abroad, so many places, you see, and interacting with so many students. So it was a pleasure to be associated with International Studies program. I am humbled in receiving this award. However, I feel that this honor not only belongs to me, but to the countless friends, colleagues, family members, and volunteers who have helped me make the Friends of India Endowment. There's another organization which we created. I want to tell about that also at Ohio University, what it is today. In 1986, Dr. Atmara Gwande, Professor William Harlan, and I founded the endowment which is called Friends of India Endowment. Our purpose was to increase awareness, understanding between two largest democracies of the world, that is India and United States. With the help of many friends and family members, we were successful in establishing this organization. My wife, Manjulika, deserves special credit for being my companion with the work we have done in the international forum at OU. Though Manju efforts, students at Ohio University have the benefactors. She developed the Master's in International Administrative Studies program and served as a director for 7 years. While Kaushal and Gwande family were the initial contributor to the Friends of India endowment, the continued success of that endowment also owes to thanks to contributors from all over United States, even from India. And some of the contributors even didn't have any connection with Ohio University, because this bringing two democracies together, that was the people were like that idea. So they gave the money for that. For first 30 years, all the behind-the-scene work for the endowment was done in my small department office in Heining Hall. Today, I am proud to state that the endowment now sits at over $300,000. With the annual income of endowment, we regularly recognize activities, increase the awareness of India. Some examples include providing travel grants for students to do research in India, organizing Indian cultural programs, inviting guest lecturers well known in their field, organizing Know India contest in the elementary schools around this area, and providing the community with an opportunity to sample Indian cuisine. I have managed this organization for more than 30 years. Now, I'm happy to report that Dr. Bipin Kaushal and Dr. Bela Kaushal have taken over the reign as the next generation to lead leadership in the endowment. So now in the hands of young people, you see, and they have very new ideas. I'm sure they are going to do very well, better than me. Now comes to what Edmund said about the lecture series, which is tomorrow, first lecture. And I must say that Dr. Edmond has really gone all the way to do this thing in an excellent way. So she makes me proud of her dealing, how she deals with the people, how she works for the international programs. I'm proud that she's doing an excellent job in Athens, Ohio. So now coming for a professor, the greatest happiness is when they realize they have inspired intellectual curiosity in others. It is even better when this curiosity allows their students to succeed beyond a teacher's wildest dreams. Now, this is just the case in the genesis of Professor Kaushal lecture series. Without my prior knowledge, Dr. Stanley Williams, one of my prior executive MBA student, provided a generous donation of $50,000 to establish this lecture series. Even I was in India at that time, and I got a call from business college has approached them, and the person who got this promise, or she called me in India that this person has given so much money for your lecture series. It was great honor to see that student, without asking, appreciate a professor what he or she has done. After learning about this new lecture series, many other alumni and family members have also contributed to the lecture series. One of the alumni is also there. He also contributed substantially to this series. This series will bring renowned professors from across the world to the Ohio University campus to provide various viewpoints, insight regarding Indian topics for years to come, well beyond my lifetime. This is a humble legacy to leave, and I wish to thank Dr. Stan William and other contributors for establishing this lecture series in my name. Finally, I would also like to thank again Dr. Ammon and committee who have worked hard to plan the inaugural lecture by inviting Professor Bhanu Kapil to give the first lecture in the Kaushal series. And also I would like to add that Dr. Edmund's staff did a great job in contacting me, telling me, you see, how we are doing, and they really worked hard. So thank you very much, all of you. And
All right, so while he's getting his special picture, I'm going to continue with the program. So we're now at our closing remarks, and who better could we invite? And we're thrilled he's also here tonight. In fact, we're thrilled both Ruthie and Dwayne are here. For those who don't know, they come to every event they can. You know, they're so present. And our international students on Sunday night were also delighted that they both spent Sunday evening with us to launch International Education Week. So we're equally delighted to have our 21st president of Ohio University, who has such a global vision, to provide us with the final remarks on what a remarkable evening we've had. Thank you, Dr. Nellis.
Well, thank you, LJ, and it truly has been a memorable evening as we think about all the personal reflections we've heard tonight from a variety of people, and just think of the threads through the various hearts of people that these people that we recognize tonight have touched through their work and contributions and giving attitude. And not only the people in this room, and not only throughout our Ohio University campus here in Athens, but really our global family that is also Ohio University. And congratulations again to all of our award recipients. And I think they all deserve one more round of applause. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. So to each of you in the room, and we have community people, we have university people and friends of the university, to all of you, I thank you once again for all that you do for Ohio University in building this global education, this global community here at Ohio and around the world. We truly have a global presence. When I arrived, as LJ has shared with you earlier, and I really appreciate all that she does as well, in 2017, Ruthie and I arrived here in Athens, and I said that I was committed to increasing global engagement. This is something that I feel passionately about, and I'm pleased with the continued progress that we make. And over the last 2 years, I'm proud to say that Ohio University has increased on a number of fronts our global engagement activities, and there are numerous examples of that, and we've heard about some of them here tonight. And LJ mentioned earlier about moving forward with our Fearlessly First strategic initiative, and the themes of that initiative remain an important priority in the context of continuing to expand our global presence. And we'll continue to look for ways to expand our various historic partnerships as well. Some of them were mentioned tonight, for example, at Chubu University, which I'm pleased we have represented tonight. I was honored to visit Chubu University, and President Ishihara last year in December, we hosted a delegation as well from Chubu University earlier this fall, and we continue to develop meaningful partnerships with them on the creative scholarship side, and it's just a very meaningful relationship in addition to the continued relationship we have through our students going there and students from Chubu coming to Ohio University. In early December, I will be traveling with Dr. Edmonds to Leipzig University, which is another historic partner, one of the oldest universities in the world, to discuss how we can continue to expand and improve our collaborative projects in order to further benefit our students and faculty. And we're also discussing projects with new partners and welcoming guests from around the world to Ohio University. Virtually almost every day we have new visitors from around the world on our campus. And speaking of the Athens Transit, I think it was maybe my first day, official day on the job, when after I picked up my ID, I actually took a short trip on the Athens Transit, and there was one other passenger on the bus, and it was a young woman from Iran who was one of our students here at Ohio University. And I thought it's very meaningful to be recognizing the Athens Transit and the role that they play in furthering our community. But we're really honored tonight to have the rector from the University of Tabuk here, and thank you for being here and your colleagues. We look forward to many meaningful opportunities to collaborate as we look to the future, and appreciate the discussions ongoing that we're having with you in the context of faculty and staff activities. So thank you for visiting Ohio University. We're also committed to creating new opportunities for students, faculty, and staff through initiatives such as the Global Connections and Global COIL program, which you've heard about. We continue to look for new ways to give our students experiences, and I thank our Office of Global Opportunities for all of their important efforts. And this fall, as LJ mentioned, we've started the Presidential Global Engagement Fund. That's a significant financial commitment as we strategically reposition the university to be fearlessly first as a global leader. This fund, again, will support new faculty and staff-led initiatives that focus on global education and engagement. So I'm very happy to be a partner with others in the creation of this program. We have an outstanding, proud history of international education at this institution, and we want to build on that as we look to the years ahead. As we witness tonight, it's amazing to see what we've already done on a global scale, fighting Chagas disease, for example, increasing educational opportunities, and working in countless ways to change lives for the better. While we've accomplished a lot, we still have a lot of work to do, and you are part of that group of people who are, I know, passionate about seeing us continue to thrive and being a global partner. So today, perhaps more than ever, if you think about what's going on around the world right now, it's probably no more important time than now that we develop these strong global partners. And we at Ohio University want to be a leader in that context. So our Bobcat family is truly a global family, and I look forward to seeing all that we can discover together. And I thank you again for being here tonight, and congratulations again to those that were recognized. Thank you very much.
So this is the end of a very special evening, and I often think about some of the takeaways that I have, and I have to admit that I'm not going to be able to forget the hot dog story. Because that kind of brings intercultural awareness and sensitivity right to the point, true? The language, the communication, the mutual understanding of a hot dog, what it means to you and what it meant to him, it just spoke volumes of why it's so important that all of you do what we do. So again, I can't underscore my sincere thanks to all of you and the university and our community for making this part of the United States one of the most globally engaged communities that they could ever want. Thank you, and good evening.